What is up, comic fam? Welcome to the Legion of Comics. I'm Mark, and I am pumped today to bring you a major Marvel Grail that I just got back from CGC. But before we get into that, we're going to be talking about the turnaround times, the process this book went, how I acquired it, and its grade and the notes attached to it. So let's get right into it. But first, check this out. Huge shout out to Big Time Collectibles for sponsoring the channel and supplying the books for the monthly Legion Loot giveaway for all the channel members who are entered in that each month. And if you have not already, consider joining the channel. Hit that join button down below. Take advantage of the benefits and the perks that come along with it and just get more involved in the channel. I appreciate each and every one of you. So let's get into it. I'm really excited. I got this book back in the mail this past week. So first off, let's talk about the turnaround time for this book. So I got this book, I acquired it. I actually shared it on my channel when I got it. I did one of the comic close-up videos where I went through the entire book from cover to cover, looking inside of it, talking about the story, because it's one that not very many people own. And even if they do, they don't necessarily want to open it and read it because it is an older book. It's a valuable book, and people are very, very touchy about damaging them. I was fine with doing it. I'm very comfortable with opening old books, flipping through it. It happens during the grading process even, and as long as you're careful, they should be fine. So if you're comfortable with it, read your books, enjoy them. I do, but this is none other than Tomb of Dracula, issue number 10, the first appearance of Blade the Vampire Hunter. So this is from 1973. The credits are for Marv Wolfman's story, the famous Marv Wolfman, Gene Colan and Jack Abel art, Gil Kane and Tom Palmer cover. It's of course it is credited with the first appearance of Blade. No cameo, no fool. He just rolled out the big cover appearance all through the story. He was a force to be reckoned with. If you want to see what's on the inside of this book and how the story goes, I will put the channel, the video link at the end of this. So stay tuned or fast forward to the end. You can just tap on that comic close up. I'm going to make sure I can try to find it. So let's talk about, before we do the grade reveal, let's talk about the turnaround time for this. So this book did have to get submitted underneath, it's not even listed. It did have to get submitted under the not modern. It's older than modern. I forgot what tier it is. I don't submit a ton of stuff. And I did the paperwork online. I sent this book to Justin Comics, the sponsor of the channel, and he did an amazing job cleaning and pressing it. And then it got sent to CGC from there. It was received at CGC on December 31st, on New Year's Eve. That's when it showed up as received. And then it went through the process of getting scheduled for grading. And it kind of sits there these days. Now that they've caught up with their backlog, the scheduled for grading process on their website can tend to drag out where it did it previously. I did send it in with two other books that were in the modern tier that are still under scheduled for grading. This one, being in a different tier, got separated with a separate order form and charged separately for those order forms, which is unfortunate, something that CBCS does not do to you. You can submit multiple tiers at once with one order form. But anyways, this book got ahead of my other books, graded, and returned to me. So it made it back to me on March 1st. So received on December 31st and back in my possession Tuesday, March 1st. That's not bad at all. Granted, my other books are still sitting there, and who knows how long they might take. They might have a decent turnaround time. They might be there for one of those extended stays, but either way, it's part of the process. It's what we have to agree to that when we send them in. It just is what it is. Don't submit if you're going to complain. But anyways, this came back really fast. I'm really impressed with it. There are a couple of things that I'm a little concerned about, which I'll talk about here in a second, but let's go ahead and do the grade reveal and talk about how I acquired this book. So this book was the actual copy that belonged to Paul Rogers, as seen on the sticker, the owner of the Augusta Book Exchange. He was going through some stuff back home, and he was emptying out a closet and found this book sitting in the bottom of the closet with a small stack of comics. It was just sitting there for who knows how long, like just there. You know, owning a comic shop, you come and go through books. Like like hotcakes. So it was an old beater copy. It wasn't bagged and boarded. It's got some obvious staining and stuff, and it's not even like staining. It's just like the pages are just discolored and everything, which is super cool. It shows its age. It shows its story that's attached to it. And I got it for an amazing price from him. Then I sent it to Justin for cleaning and pressing. So if you go back to that video, that comic close-up of the first appearance of Blade, you'll see that one of the things, all the staples are connected. And I talked to Justin extensively before I sent him the books. While he had the books, he communicates with all of his customers. He's very easy to get a hold of. And we talked about how worn out the spine was. It's not split, but where the staples are, they were coming loose. When Justin received this book, both staples were still attached to the cover. When Justin was done pressing and cleaning this book, both staples were still attached to this cover. But let's take a look at the CGC notes after the grade reveal and see what they have to say. So it is a 3.0, which is great. He did a fantastic job on this book. It's got chipping missing there, the discoloration, the countless marks and scratches. And let's actually look what CGC had to say. So their grader's notes are 3.0, cream to off-white pages, graded date on February 1st. So that was fast. December 31st received, February 1st graded, universal blue label. So the grader's notes say multiple crease color breaks color. Good God. Multiple crease cover breaks color. So those are obviously apparent on it. Piece out of top of front cover, outright top front cover. That's correct. It's also on the back, but they don't notate that. But then it says staple detached top of cover. So the top staple is now considered detached. It has tanning and tanning interior cover. And that's what I was calling the color change on it, is that tanning around the edge. But per their notes, they say staple detached at top cover. So that is something that I'm sure, absolutely sure, when Justin was finished was not the case. So it was very, very loose. It was a hanger-oner. It was barely hanging in there, but it was attached. It definitely was. I have pictures from our correspondence and our conversations and everything. So that is actually good to go. It was something that Justin prided himself on when he was done with it, because it was something I was concerned about. And he even jokingly messaged me right after the fact. He's like, "Bad news, dude." I'm like, "What happened?" He's like, "Staple didn't make it." I'm like, "No." And then he sent me pictures like, "Just kidding. Ha ha ha." He was actually really proud of it. So maybe, just maybe, can never prove it, but maybe when CGC was grading it, that was the straw that broke the camel's back. It really was at that point. So can't even be mad at him. I'm still super impressed with this book, super happy with the grade. I forgot to look up the values and stuff for it, but this is not a cheap book, and it's only going to go up. We have Blade cast already for the MCU. We've already had him teased in the after credits for the Eternals. So are you excited for Blade? Is this one on your list? I know a couple of friends out in the community that has one at CGC right now, a couple more that are big fans of Blade, and I'm just really pumped to have got this in my collection. I'm glad that it's a piece of my own LCS, that the owner owned it. This is the second book that I've got from him. It's a big book. My Hulk 181 was actually his copy as well. And it's pretty cool because I've got significant books from Marvel. It can be bigger books. That Spider-Man, that Ghost Rider 1, and that Hulk 6, in my opinion, are bigger books than this. But this one at this grade is worth more than those at that grade. So it's not a cheap book. So leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you think of this book. Are you excited for Blade's return to the big screen? And until next time, guys, as always, I'm Mark, but we are Legion.